everyone, welcome back to my channel. I hope you all are doing well. For 7 years, the world believed that this record couldn't be broken. One man looked at it and gave himself 7 months. Today I want to share a review of a documentary that I watched recently on Netflix. And it's one that really stayed with me. It's called 14 Peaks, Nothing is Impossible. If you have been here for a while, you would know that we have reviewed books like Ikigai and Atomic Habits, stories and ideas that challenge how we think about purpose, growth, and discipline. And this documentary fits beautifully into that space. But instead of pages and theory, it shows you what belief looks like in action. So today I want to talk about the film, about the man behind it, and about what it teaches us about limits. 14 Peaks follows the journey of Nirmal Purja, a Nepali mountaineer, a former Gurkha, and UK Special Forces soldier. He set out on something called Project Possible. The goal? To climb all 14 of the world's 14 mountains that are above 8,000 meters in just 7 months. Now, to understand how big this is. Before him, the world record was over 7 years. 7 years reduced to 7 months. And these are not normal mountains. These are the most dangerous peaks on earth. Low oxygen, extreme cold, avalanches, and life-threatening conditions. And yet, he believed it could be done. Before we talk about the achievement, we need to understand the mindset. Nims was born in Nepal into a modest background. He joined the Gurkhas at a young age and later became part of the UK Special Forces, one of the most elite military units in the world. That kind of environment builds something deeper than physical strength. It builds resilience, mental endurance, and clarity under pressure. When he announced his plan to climb all the 14 peaks in 7 months, many people doubted him. Funding was uncertain. Sponsors hesitated. Even experienced climbers questioned the timeline. But he called the mission Project Possible. Not Project Impossible, not Project Risky, but Project Possible. And I think that name tells you everything about how he sees the world. He believes that for a human being, nothing is impossible if you commit fully. One of the biggest lessons that I took from this documentary is this. We often accept limits that were never truly tested. For years, people believed that climbing 14 peaks under 1 year couldn't be done. Not because it was proven impossible, but because no one had tried it that way. And sometimes that's how our own limits work too. We say, I'm not capable, that's too big, maybe someday. But what if the only thing missing is belief? Throughout the documentary, there are moments of extreme danger, avalanches, exhaustion, rescuing other climbers mid-mission, and instead of asking, can we continue? Nims asks, how do we continue? That shift from doubt to solution is powerful. Another thing I deeply appreciated was that this wasn't presented as a lone hero story. Nims climbed with a team of incredibly strong Nepali Sherpas. For decades, Sherpas have helped other climbers reach summits but rarely received global recognition. Project Possible changed that. It put Nepali climbers at the center of the story, as leaders, as record breakers, as visionaries. And Nims constantly shared credit with his team. That humility stood out to me because success is never truly solo. Behind every achievement, there are people who made it possible. This documentary also reminds us that big goals aren't achieved by motivation alone, they are achieved by discipline. This mission required precise logistics, weather tracking, oxygen management, physical recovery, and funding management. It wasn't dramatic speeches, it was structured execution. And that connects so much to what we talk about in Atomic Habits. Big transformations are built through consistent actions, especially when conditions aren't perfect. Nims didn't wait for comfort, he adapted, he adjusted, he kept moving. What moved me emotionally was the deeper purpose behind the actual mission. This wasn't just about breaking a record, it was about representation. For years, global mountaineering stories often focused on Western climbers. Project Possible shifted that narrative. It showed the world the strength, skill, and leadership of Nepali climbers. And that matters because when representation changes, possibility expands. Alright, before I close this review, I want to pause for a moment and talk about what these 14 peaks actually are. Because sometimes we hear 14 mountains and that doesn't fully register. These are not just tall mountains, they are the 14 highest mountains on earth, all above 8,000 meters. At that altitude, human body begins to shut down. Oxygen levels are about 1/3 of what they are at sea level. It is called the dead zone. Above 8,000 meters, your body cannot properly acclimatize. Your organs are under stress, your thinking slows down, every step feels heavy. And these peaks include names like Mount Everest, K2, Kanchenjunga, Annapurna, and Nanga Parbat, each one with its own history of danger. Some of them are known for extreme avalanche risk, some for unpredictable weather, and some for their high fatality rates. And climbers usually spend months preparing for just one. They wait for a perfect weather window. They climb, descend, and recover for weeks. Now imagine that doing 14 times, with travel between countries, with funding pressure, with physical exhaustion building up. The scale of it almost becomes unreal. And yet, they kept moving peak after peak, not chasing glory, but chasing a vision. This is why the achievement feels different. This wasn't one lucky summit. It was sustained excellence 14 times. Visually, the documentary feels breathtaking. The mountains feel overwhelming. You feel the danger, the scale, the vulnerability. It's raw and real. If I had one small critique, it moves fast. 14 peaks in under 2 hours means some climbs feel brief. I would have loved a mini series format, but overall, it's deeply inspiring. The title says, "Nothing is impossible." After watching it, I don't think that's just motivation, it's a philosophy. It doesn't mean the journey will be easy. It means you refuse to let doubt decide your limits. If someone can climb 14 of the deadliest mountains in 7 months, what mountain are we telling ourselves is too high? If you have seen 14 peaks, I would genuinely love to know your thoughts. And if you haven't, I really recommend you giving it a watch. If you enjoyed this review, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to my channel. We'll continue exploring stories and ideas that help us to grow, whether through books, documentaries, or real life journeys. And before you go, Tell me in the comments, what is your project possible? I'll see you in the next video. Till then, take care. See you. Bye bye.